Elon Musk and Spacex sell all of their Bitcoin, leaving the cryptocurrency market in shambles. New updates in the Ripple versus the SEC case, with Ripple filing as opposition for the SEC's interlocutory appeal. The judge officially granting the SEC the right to file that interlocutory appeal. And then also the SEC does officially file their interlocutory appeal to the judge. And the last thing that we're going to go over is Ripple partners with Mastercard for their central bank CBDC partner platform program. So make sure you guys tune in all the way to the end of this video to find out all the details. Hey guys, it's Ryan with Big Dog Investing. Thank you guys for tuning into my channel. If you guys could do a couple of things for me, if you guys go ahead and like, comment, subscribe to my channel if you guys have not done so already. Click the bell notification down below so YouTube can send you guys notifications whenever I release videos. Watch my videos all the way to the end. And if you guys could share my videos and share my channel with anyone, I'm trying to grow my channel as much as I can, and I definitely need your guys' help in doing so. Getting started, today's be Friday, August 18th. The total market cap for all cryptocurrency right now is $1.05 trillion. This is a 1.13% decrease on the day today. Right now on the fear and greed index, we are at a 34, so we are in the fear. Total market cap, we were at a 1.16 to a 1.17 trillion dollar market cap just a couple days ago. Yesterday, we did have that massive sell-off that we're going to talk about, and that's why we are now in the fear. Bitcoin right now is currently trading at $26,065, Ethereum $1,665, and XRP right now at 50.82 cents. Looking at our Bitcoin chart, though, we'll see how big of a sell-off we did have. So on our 7-day, we were trading at roughly around 29,000 during the week. Yesterday, we started around $28,000, and then we had a massive sell-off, and we hit a low of $25,409, and then we retested back up to close to $27,000, and then we retested that $26,000 mark. Drop below it for just a brief second, and we are still above that 26,000 mark right now. Put down in the comments what you guys think, though. Do you guys think that we're going to test new lows, or are we going to kind of just rebound right now and continue our way back up? Also, looking at our XRP chart, we did have a massive sell-off of XRP because everything does follow Bitcoin. But XRP, we're trading roughly around 63 cents during the week. Yesterday, we were trading around 59 cents. We had a massive sell-off, and we tested our super new low of 48.63 cents. And then we retested that as well at 48.94. So we have a critical resistance right now, according to our charts. And according to a lot of other people that read charts also. I do read charts, but I'm not a huge technical analyst. But we have a critical resistance, according to everyone right now, around 48 cents. And then we have a critical resistance below that at 42 cents. So if we do dip below that 48-cent mark, we do have another critical resistance around 42 cents. Again, no financial advice, but we'll see what happens with our cryptocurrency markets. Getting into our biggest gainers and losers on the day, HBAR up 14.3%, Engine 11.7%, KAS 10.7%. Biggest losers, Rocket Pool down 4.4%, CFX down 2.6%, and Kava down 2.4%, Hex down 4.2%. But on the week, though, we have a lot of big losers. HBAR is the only one that's really up, that has a lot of good information come out. Ruin's up pretty well right now, 37.7%. But other than that, HBAR is up mainly because they had the micropayments drop CC. My micropayment solution program get approved and is now on the FedNow system. And then we have XRP right now down 19.6%, XLM down 15.8%, ADA down 10.6%. And then there's a couple others. Algo down 15.1%. But there's a lot of coins. XDC 8.6%. We'll see what happens, though, in the cryptocurrency market again in the coming days, if we'll rebound or retest new lows. The U.S. government's debt will rise by $5.2 billion every single day for the next decade. So that's over the next 10 years. Every single day, we're going to add $5.2 billion in debt. And that doesn't include new spending that we might actually accrue if Congress approves new money to be spent. In my opinion, this is completely terrible, and this is why there's speculations that we're going to be in a $50 trillion debt over the next decade. So in the next 10 years, we'll be $50 trillion in debt as a government. SpaceX's Elon Musk space business revenue has doubled in 2022 with its first reported profitable quarter in quarter one of 2023. They reportedly also cut costs in half. That's also good for business. but it leads us into a lot of rumors that happened yesterday with Elon Musk, SpaceX selling 373 million worth of Bitcoin acquired in 2021 and 2022. This did, in my opinion, cause a lot of confusion in the markets, and a lot of people speculated that this was going to be bad for Bitcoin, and the price of it followed with having people have a massive sell-off. In my opinion, I don't know if this officially happened. There's some reports that it did, reports that it didn't. We're going to talk about it in just a second. But getting into our Watcher Guru news, the Netherlands enters a recession. We're seeing a bunch of countries right now entering a recession. According to the true definition of what a recession is, the United States has been in one for a while. PayPal to halt PayPal UK to halt Bitcoin and crypto purchases starting on October 1st. We've seen some bullish news out of PayPal in the United States, but in other countries right now, it's going to be halted. Coinbase to offer Bitcoin and Ethereum futures trading in the US. Bullish for Bitcoin and Ethereum news, but again, this did not help the price of those two, especially yesterday. Judge accuses Elon Musk of cozying up with former President Trump after refusing to give U.S. government access to his Twitter, and it's now X. But in my opinion, I completely agree with Elon Musk and X right now. You have every right to privacy, and if a private business doesn't want to give you or give the federal government your guys' account access, in my opinion, it's your right to privacy as a citizen and a right to govern your own private business as you see. If they want to, they can get a warrant. Hawaii governor says the state is looking to purchase land destroyed in the Maui wildfires. In my opinion, this is completely ridiculous. He did say this on live television. I did watch the news report of this. But basically, what happens is the government's probably going to try to use eminent domain, which, if you guys don't know, is the government basically will come in and say that they have a right to take your land because they need to utilize it for the good or the best welfare of all and not just the individual. So they're going to go in and basically give each person who has land in that specific area where the wildfires were a fair and reasonable price that the government deems necessary, not what the true value is, because it can be far less than what the true value would have been. But we've seen investors try to buy a lot of these individuals' land for quite some time. And then it just so happens that this wildfire did spread in not only that specific area that were considered local Hawaiians, they had that area. And we had a lot of institutional investors trying to come in and purchase that land. And they also want to turn Maui into a smart city. They want to be the first smart city in the world to come up with it. And then, in my opinion, the wildfires just happened, and now the government's looking to use eminent domain to take that land back. United States lost 5.9 trillion in wealth last year, more than any other country in the world. But in my opinion, we do have the greatest wealth in the world, so I can see why we did. All countries essentially lost wealth. But the U.S. lost the most because we have the most money in the world. Former President Trump holds 2.8 million in Ethereum. We did see that he does hold Bitcoin as well. Will we see that he does hold XRP? Only time's going to tell. Shiba Inu officially launches the Binarium decentralized blockchain. Again, with yesterday, we did see the price of Shiba Inu drop also, but that was on the 16th that it happened. In my opinion, if you guys were watching the charts, we did see a sell-off of about 10% in the price. But there's this, ongoing saying, buy the rumor, sell the news. So when this officially launched, there was a massive sell-off of Shiba Inu because people were buying the hype, and then they sold it when the news broke. Entire Michigan Police Department quits after being offered $22 an hour. Other state agencies right now are coming in to try to alleviate the needs right now in this area, taking over part of this responsibility until they can figure out where to go. But in my opinion, we've seen cops across the United States, in my opinion, start realizing that the job sometimes isn't worth it, especially for the pay and the lack of recognition from average citizens. President Trump warns the US dollar is losing its dominance as a world reserve currency. We're seeing this especially with every country joining BRICS. Russian President Putin holds a call with Iran leader to discuss Iran joining BRICS, so which just happens to be another country wanting to join BRICS, which is going to compete with the United States with the global reserve currency. There's a meeting coming up here soon where BRICS is going to discuss what reserve currency they want to use besides the US dollar. The average 30-year fixed mortgage rate increases to 7.4%, highest since 2002. In my opinion, again, no financial advice, We might see a 7.9 to an 8.1 interest rate by the end of 2023. There's talks right now with the Fed that they're going to raise interest rates one more time before the year ends, possibly even twice. Especially with how Fed Chair Jerome Powell says that we still have not tried to curb inflation down to that 2% level. Judge grants SEC approval to file an appeal in Ripple case. In my opinion, though, this is not worded correctly. Um, the judge grants the right for the SEC to file an appeal in the Ripple versus in the Ripple XRP case, but they did say somewhere where they filed it with the XRP token, and that was completely wrong. So we're going to talk about it towards the end of this video. Apple to pay $500 million to customers in class action lawsuit after being caught intentionally slowing down older phones. So we've seen this before by Apple, where they'll basically put something in the software update and then essentially it'll throttle down your access or internet usage, which makes you think that your phone is just getting old and it's super slow. So in turn, you're going to go out and buy a new phone because everyone wants the fastest, most effective thing. Chinese property giant Everglade files for bankruptcy. This did happen in New York. This company right here has a bunch of properties in the United States, Canada, and several other countries abroad. So they're going to start selling all these properties. In my opinion, it's not going to alleviate the housing market. In my opinion, I don't think it's going to completely crush the prices of houses. We're not going to see a massive sell-off by one company, but I believe this was the second largest property giant in that specific country right here. So we'll see what happens though. 769 million liquidated from the crypto market in the last 30 minutes, and that happened yesterday. So this was the biggest liquidation in all of cryptocurrency's history. So that was really interesting that happened. And then there's reports now coming out that yesterday, towards the end of the night, that they were unable to confirm reports that SpaceX sold the 373 million, that they had it on their earnings report, and then on their new earnings report it wasn't there, so it led to confusion in the markets. And in my opinion, this did play a role of the Bitcoin price drop, but there were other factors at play. The president's son, tax charges were dismissed by a federal judge. I'm going to try to not say certain things because I've been shadow banned, but tax charges dropped by federal judge. I'm going to look more into this because this is, we've seen that all of these judges are dropping charges and then trying to basically have him come in and take a sweetheart deal, and then now that deal fell through, and then now we're seeing another charge dismissed by a judge. Former President Trump says he will replace Fed Chair Jerome Powell if elected in 2024. We've obviously seen Fed Chair Jerome Powell not do his job in most of our opinions. And the reasons why is we're not at that 2% inflation that he's been promised. Also, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is also not doing a very good job. So we may see him talk about replacing her also. $1 trillion, or not 1 trillion, sorry, 1 billion liquidated in the crypto market in the past 24 hours. If it was 1 trillion, the entire market would drop, but it's 1 billion liquidated from the crypto market in the past 24 hours. That's kind of crazy to see that much of price actually left. But again, no financial advice, but be very cautious when investing in cryptocurrency. It's super volatile, but also as much and as fast as prices go down, they can also go back up. But more than likely, in my opinion, they do go down. So again, proceed with caution, and again, do your guys' own research before investing in certain coins. Today, Elon Musk announced that X, which is Twitter, formerly Twitter, will remove the ability to block accounts. In my opinion, this is ridiculous. And the reasons why I think that is, obviously you want to be able to block certain people from viewing your accounts. So a lot of spam accounts and stuff like that trying to get people to do airdrops. And if you can block those accounts from your account, they won't be able to comment and try to lead to more confusion in the markets. This is the thing that I was going to talk about right here. The SEC files motion to appeal ruling that XRP is not a security. So Watcher Guru got this wrong. We'll talk about this specifically towards the end, but the SEC actually doesn't try to argue. They actually they're not going to argue that the XRP token itself is not a security. So that was a really turn of events for me. But we'll talk about it towards the end of this video. The X receives license for payment services in Maryland. We saw Georgia just recently. And the biggest thing in the last piece of news right now that came out from Watcher Guru was Lamborghini officially unveils its first 100% electric vehicle to compete with Tesla. In my opinion, Electric vehicles are not there yet to take over gas powered vehicles. We have not seen a shift yet from one fossil fuel source to a renewable. We're just switching from a fossil fuel is oil to a fossil fuel is coal, because that's what the majority of people use right now to generate their electricity for their houses, where you would have to charge this. Also, there's not a lot of charging stations. Moving on, though, Crypto Mason says HBAR and Quant have officially been added to iTrust Capital platform. Again, more bullish for HBAR and Quant, two cryptocurrencies that I do like. Stellar was excited to share that they have an open source release of Stellar distribution platform, paying gig workers anywhere in the world to delivering digital aid. Anyone can power global payments using digital assets with this publicly available bulk disbursements tool. You guys can read more about this right here, but this is really good that it's open source. It's basically a copy and paste of the XRP ledger or XRP token, but specifically towards retail investors, whereas Ripple and the XRP token is more so towards institutional like banks. Updates in the SEC versus Coinbase case. So the SEC submitted a letter to the judge yesterday responding to Coinbase's request for permission to file a motion for judgment on the pleadings. Here's what you guys should know. The SEC will not object to Coinbase moving forward on the motion. The SEC's letter previews the arguments it will make against Coinbase. The SEC relies on an inapplicable case out of Connecticut that was brought against the issuer of the token, not against the secondary trading platform. And this is really huge. And it needs to be known that most tokens, again, are not considered securities when traded on the secondary markets. A lot of cryptocurrency exchanges, if get sued by the SEC, will use the ruling from Judge Torres in the Ripple versus the SEC case, deeming that XRP tokens itself is not a security, but especially on the secondary markets. She doesn't list all other tokens, but she specifically says XRP. She didn't delve into the rest of the cryptocurrency market like we thought she would, but she may do it in her final ruling. The SEC offers no response at all into the damaging Gary Gensler testimony cited by Coinbase's letter. We've seen everything that Gary Gensler's been doing to tarnish the SEC's reputation, and then also they're saying that they're supposed to be able to be protecting the average investor. And the last thing, the SEC says it will move to strike Coinbase's defense under the major questions doctrine. Moving on, BitPay releases worldwide support for XRP, allowing BitPay users across the world to buy, store, swap, and spend XRP across all BitPay solutions. So again, Ripple keeps on expanding its business practices in XRP going forward. Ripple wants XRP to be $10+. Here's the CTO, David Schwartz, explaining why. So he said, when Bitcoin sold for $1, you couldn't really use them to buy or sell a house. You can now. Bigger transactions require bigger value. The higher the price of XRP, the larger the payment Ripple can target. So I wanted to point that out because obviously having a bigger price for the XRP token will be beneficial towards investors, but also to be able to use it in transmitting money across cross-border payments. And then also if you wanted to buy things with it. Doesn't this was unexpected. Doesn't the completely change how the XRPL AMM automated market maker design could be upgraded in the future? So they have a price oracle. What's the term I want to use? They basically came out with just a program where they want to just basically put it out there and get customers or certain reviews from individuals to be able to use this price oracle. So it's basically just an introductory. Maybe this will happen. It needs to get voted on. But the oracles on the XRPL enables the integration of external data, market prices, exchange rates, interest rates, and real world events into XRPL. Zach Rector comes out and says XRPL updates on the amendments are taking place right now. While everyone freaks out about price, the builders are still moving this ecosystem ahead. And again, sorry, I just had a brain freeze right there when talking about that. But biggest part of our video that we were going to talk about is Mastercard partnering with Ripple. So the CEO of Mastercard says we're partnering with several central banks to help them research new digital currencies projects. It starts with understanding what they want to achieve with the technology, then building in transparency, customer privacy and stability. We're working towards these goals with a new CBDC partner program with Mastercard, teaming up with a handful of key blockchain Web3 payment players so we can learn from each other. And Ripple is one of those. So that's super big news. Again, this didn't actually increase the price of XRP at all. Again, we have a bunch of news coming out, and eventually when XRP token gets integrated in all these systems, we'll have that flip of the switch, and we'll see what the price of the XRP token goes to. James K. Filan says Ripple files its opposition to the FCC anticipated motion for leave to file an interlocutory appeal. So, Stuart Alderati in this came out, and he was the one that wrote this. But basically, they're just saying that that the judge should not allow the SEC to file its motion, because the SEC filed a request saying, "Can we please file an interlocutory appeal?" The judge had to have granted that for them to be able to file their official appeal. So this is basically just asking for permission, and this is Ripple's opposition to that permission. But Paul Grewal, he's the chief legal officer at Coinbase, did talk about this and says powerful, especially in highlighting the hypocrisy of claiming a controlling issue of law when they were told by the court previously precisely the opposite repeatedly. See ECF number 837 at 6. Whether or not a particular transaction involves the offer or sales of a security will depend on the facts and circumstances. The ECF number 843 at 34. Howey must be applied to the facts and circumstances at hand, and it just submitted more than 1,600 factual assertions that it claimed were relevant and material to the court's decision. Stuart Alderati says that we oppose the FCC's request for an interlocutory appeal. There is no extraordinary circumstance here that would justify departing from the rule requiring all issues that all parties to be resolved before an appeal. So that was really interesting. Brad Garlinghouse also commented and says, remember, the request for an appeal, even if granted, so even if the judge does grant the ability for the SEC to appeal, it doesn't change the fact that XRP is not a security. That is not up for debate/trial. But the SEC continues to claim that Chris and I acted recklessly in believing that XRP is not a security. So even though the judge ruled that XRP is not a security, they're saying now that because they believe that the XRP token was not a security, him and Chris Larson, and then the judge officially saying that, yes, it was never a security, that they acted recklessly. That's utter nonsense. The judge's July 13th ruling said that the SEC would be put to their proofs at the trial regarding their claim against Chris and me. We look forward to proving the SEC wrong as a fact of law. So in my opinion, that's completely bullish. But the judge did officially grant this. But first, they say that Jeremy Hogan pointed out that Ripple makes solid arguments why the appeal shouldn't be allowed. But if it is allowed, Ripple is going to get its contractual obligation argued in the front of the second DCA, and that will be something. I'm talking amicus briefs raining in from the heavens. And this is done by the very bottom. It says, by contrast, defendants raised a legal question about the scope of the term investment contracted as constructed in Howey and whether it can be applied whether there is no contract between the buyer and seller. Because if I bought the XRP token from Coinbase or Uphold, which again, Uphold was the only one that allowed it to be sold throughout the ongoing lawsuit, I don't have a contract with Ripple. So because there's no contract, how can it apply to Howey? Says that the grants the rights to the buyer, imposes obligations to the seller. If the SEC is permitted to appeal, defendants will seek to cross-appeal on the issue, as well as the fact that fact-bound portions of the court's order finding liability for certain transactions. The judge officially did say it's okay for this. So today, this was yesterday, the judge granted the SEC's request to request a file for motion for interlocutory appeal. So basically, the judge basically just said that you guys have permission to file that interlocutory appeal, and they must file their request to leave to file that appeal by tomorrow, the 18th. And then James K. Filan says that the SEC has officially filed their motion to certify their interlocutory appeal. If you guys want to read anything that we're talking about, because they are very lengthy, and really, I'm not a lawyer. It's really hard and complicated. Your average person cannot read these and understand it completely. So make sure you guys seek advice when reading all of this stuff. But Eleanor Tourette, the last thing I wanted to point out, says it is interesting that even the SEC is accepting that digital assets themselves are not inherently securities. However, not entirely surprising, as both Judge Rainkoff and Judge Torres come to this conclusion in their respective cases. So in their appeal, they say that, and the SEC does not seek appellate review of any holdings related to the fact that the underlying assets here are nothing but computer code with no inherent value. So they're not trying to argue that the XRP token itself is not a security. So that was really interesting. If you guys have any questions or concerns, please put them in the comments or anything you guys want me to talk about. Thank you guys for tuning in to the end of this video. Look forward to the next one. And if you guys can invest with the big dogs, stay on the porch. Thank you guys and have a good one.